as a business is broken down to three different components. Fund mobilization. Mobilization means like collecting fund from those who are willing to give money to others. And fund utilization, giving the money for those who are looking for funding, right? And the fund intermediation, which is the job of the third party or the finance institute. So the finance institute actually is the one, whether it is a mortgage company or finance or like a conventional bank or just finance institute, their job is to collect fund from one party and to give it to other party, like to be the the mediator or the third party who is facilitating that job. In a very conventional system, that finance institute does not work for free. Okay, they take the money. Yes, sir. Sure. They take the money. Better? Right. They take the money from the money providers or the financiers, okay, based on certain percentage of interest. So technically speaking, they are borrowing the money for interest. So they take the money from the financiers or for the wealthy individuals who want to invest, let's say for 4% APR, annual percentage rate. And they turn around and give the exact amount of money to somebody else for 7 or 8% APR. So they borrow the money for 3 or 4%, they lend the money for 7 or 8%. What is the difference here? How much is the difference? 3 or 4%. That is the commission, that's the money that they make. And that's their job. So their job is to borrow money and to lend money. Any finance institute here in the USA, banks for example, they are not allowed to make money from real estate business. Right? We need to understand how the system functions in the US. Banks are not allowed to make profit or to make money from real estate. Their job is to make money from lending money for interest, borrowing money for interest, and that's it. Right? So that is the finance as an industry. Okay? Fund mobilization, fund utilization, and fund intermediation. Now, when you add to the term finance, you add to it Islamic finance. Now we are zooming in and discussing a very particular, very specific finance system, okay, that abides by the Islamic principles. We all actually know, we all believe that Alhamdulillah, Islam is a very comprehensive way of life. It has like a system for rituals, for the ibadat, the salah and the siyam and the hajj and the zakah. It has an ethical and social system. It has, like system for interacting between people. For example, you cannot look down to others, you cannot discriminate, you cannot insult, you cannot lie, you cannot cheat, you cannot steal, and so on and so forth. And even when it comes to transaction, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave it up to us to transact the way that we want. He set some like certain guidelines and principles for us to take into consideration, either by himself in the Quran or through the Sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So everybody who claims to be a Muslim, male or female, has to abide by these principles to make sure that he does not violate the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam whenever he or she transacts with people. Now, when you add again Islamic to the term finance, it has to come to your mind that each and every single individual, whether the money provider or the money recipient, like the financier, right, or the third party, every single individual has to maintain the highest level of transparency and integrity. Transparency and integrity. Every single individual has to know from day one who is offering the money, what will be the return on investment, okay? How many partners are there? What is the responsibility of each partner? Who will be running the business, right? Who will be making decisions? What if there is a profit? What if they break even? What if there is a loss? What if someone of the partners did not want to continue? What if someone defaulted them? All these what ifs with S have to be incorporated in a contract that is very transparent and very clear. So no one would say, oh, you know what? I didn't know. No one told me that I might lose my principal. Oh, no one told me that there might be zero profit. Everything actually has to be clear. That is the transparency and integrity. Second principle is the ethics and values. Right? In this society here, there are a lot of businesses who are extremely profitable, very feasible, very profitable. But the problem is that those kinds of businesses and industry are standing explicitly against the Islamic ethics and Islamic principles. They stand against the conviction and the ethics of the society at large. So anything from an Islamic perspective, anything that is profitable, okay, profitable enough, as long as it is Islamically unacceptable, okay, then it has to be dismissed from day one. We cannot even sit down together and discuss the possibility of financing a project or a product where the outcome result, okay, related to gambling or tobacco or adult entertainment or anything that's explicitly haram. So always permissibility overrides feasibility. Permissibility overrides profitability. We don't care about how profitable that business might be as long as it is a haram business. If it is haram, then we are not even willing to sit down and discuss details as simple as that. Commoditization and asset-backed, okay, means that in the same way, you as a practicing Muslim, in the same way that you care about your welfare and well-being, okay, and the profitability of your business, you have to be considerate enough, okay, to share something with the community at large. So when you get involved in any Islamic finance-based activities, you have to make sure that you produce something tangible, something like beneficial, right? Something to benefit the community at large. You buy, you sell, you manufacture something, you commission, you do something that's really beneficial. Having said that, a lot of people nowadays do have like several ways of making money in the stock market. And they trade in so-called financial instruments between CDS and CDO and derivatives and options and futures. The vast majority of those so-called financial instruments are not backed up by any commodity or any merchandise or even a service. And they make a lot of money. Take, for example, CDS or CDO, I don't remember. It's a kind of connection between that financial instrument that you hold and you keep like paying a premium on it, connected with a certain portfolio or index. Okay, if that index makes money, you lose, and if they lose money, you make profit. Okay, even with the assumption, like for discussion purposes, that this kind of business or this kind of making money is halal, it's very, very unethical. I mean, do you like for yourself to make money based on the loss of other people? I mean, is this the right way for you to make profit and to make money? So the vast majority of those financial instruments in the stock market nowadays, if you just put aside the stocks that belong to halal business, the vast majority of those bonds and derivatives and futures and do not make any sense. They do not supply the community at large with something that's beneficial. Yes, you might make money, but you are not actually making impact or positive impact. You are not serving the community at large because of the way that you conduct business. So stay away from those financial instruments and make sure that your practice actually is based on commoditization and asset-backed. You create an asset and a commodity, a merchandise. Okay, you inject in the society something that is beneficial. It goes without saying that one of the most important characteristics or qualities of this finance system is the ban or the prohibition of interest, right? No one has the right to borrow money with interest. No one has the right to lend other people with interest. No one has the right to intermediate or to facilitate for the lender and the borrower, doing that interest-bearing transaction. Every single individual involved in facilitating that business transaction that's based on riba is cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by His Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Very interesting to know that Islam is not the only divine religion that prohibits interest. We wholeheartedly believe that interest or riba, by the way, interest, riba, usury or usury is the same. Some people like to differentiate, usury is different from riba. It might be, but like from our perspective as Muslims, it's the same. Call it whatever you want. Riba, usury, interest, it's the same. So we wholeheartedly believe that riba was prohibited in Judaism. Forget about the Torah. Go to the Quran that you read day and night, and you will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly indicated that Jews used to, or Jewish community in the past, used to transact based on riba while they were prohibited from doing so. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَأَخْذِهِمُ الرِّبَى. He was referring to a certain Jewish community. قَالَ وَأَخْذِهِمُ الرِّبَى وَقَدْ نُهُوا عَنْهُ. They used to transact with interest, with riba, while they were prohibited from doing so. Very explicit, you cannot miss it. وَأَخْذِهِمُ الرِّبَى وَقَدْ نُهُوا عَنْهُ. I know that we have a lot of question marks when it comes to the authenticity of the Bible that people read nowadays, because like they have different versions. Forget about that. Just grab any edition of the Bible of your choice and start reading. You will come across several verses either by Isa alayhi salatu wasalam or by the disciples of Hawariyeen, where they were clearly prohibiting their followers from dealing with interest. So there is a lot of consistency. There is a pattern here. Okay? Riba was prohibited in Judaism. Riba was prohibited in Christianity. Riba is prohibited in Islam. Riba will continue being prohibited all the way until the Day of Judgment. Based on that, if you feel more comfortable calling this finance system that we are discussing, you want to call it a Jewish system, you are absolutely correct. You want to call it a Christian finance system, you are right. You want to call it Islamic one, you want to call it divine one, Abrahamic one, call it whatever you want. Okay? As long as you adhere to the principles of this system, you are definitely on the right path. So that is the Islamic one. Why I'm calling this presentation Islamic Finance 101? Because Islamic finance is a very broad and very deep and very detailed topic, right? So it's close to, well, it is impossible to cover like in 1 hour all these technical fiqh, tiny details, right? Take for example, if we concluded tonight that mortgaging homes in a very classical traditional way is not halal. What is the status of the Islamic mortgage companies in the USA? What is the difference between Guidance Residential and University Islamic Financial and Devon Bank and La Riba? That is a topic by itself. That's a subject by itself, right? So we cannot discuss all these details. We are here tonight like to come up with a very fundamental, very basic information about Islamic finance. So when you go home and maybe your spouse or your kids ask you a question, what did you learn today? It has to be clear that Islamic finance is different from the classical or the conventional finance based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That's the whole message that I want to send today through this presentation. Moving on. Riba is haram. Riba is the most important thing that differentiates Islamic finance from conventional finance. What is the riba that we are referring to? What is the definition of riba? Okay. If you attempt to educate yourself and go to those classical like fiqh books, okay, المبسوط للسرخسي or مش عارف بدائع الصنائع للكاساني or المغني لابن قدامة, classical like books and cover the 4 different madhahib. The more you read in the chapter of interest or riba, the more you get confused, because the examples mentioned there are absolutely correct. They are very authentic, do not get me wrong. But they are very outdated examples. You will come across something like, for instance, exchanging like barley for wheat, or date fruit for date fruit with different quality and different weight, like quantity and quality. Exchanging apple for orange, exchanging rice for sugar, and so on and so forth, right? And you come across like big terms that sometimes like might sound scary. Okay, riba al-fadl, riba al-nasa, riba al-nasi'a, riba al-jahiliya, riba al-duyun, riba al-jahiliya, right? And the more you read, the more you like get confused, and sometimes even you like scratch your head. Is this the interest that's prohibited, okay, in this society here? My answer is no. Those examples are correct, very authentic, but they are very outdated examples. Muslims in the USA in 2025 do not exchange rice for sugar or barley for wheat. If you want to make an order, you grab your iPhone, okay, you go to that card app, you just make an order, you use your debit card, your credit card, sometimes you use your cryptocurrency to make a payment, and within 1 or 2 hours you find the order delivered to your house, right? So all those examples, confusing examples, I want you to, to forget about them and just focus on one and only one category and definition of riba. So from now on, when I say riba, I refer to this very particular category. Good news here is that whether you are a strict Hanafi or Maliki or Shafi'i or Hanbali, it does not make any difference. Okay? The prohibition of this category of interest is something that is agreed upon. Scholars are unanimous that this kind of riba is absolutely prohibited. In fact, this is the most severe level of riba, the most severe prohibited level of riba. If some categories are debatable between the madhab, this one actually is something that is agreed upon. So the definition goes, the premium that must be paid by the borrower to the lender along with the principal amount, either as a condition for the loan or for the extension or for an extension in its maturity. For like simplicity purposes, I want you to forget about the very last statement, or for an extension in its maturity, and just focus on the rest of the definition. The premium that must be paid by the borrower to the lender along with the principal amount as a condition for the loan. As a condition for the loan. What does that mean? You go to Chase, Capital One, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you name it. You apply for a loan, $100,000 loan. That loan could be a student loan, could be construction loan, personal loan, investment, business, whatever the category might be. Once you are approved, okay, for $100,000 for, let's say, 5% APR. APR stands for annual percentage rate. Is that correct? Annual percentage rate. Okay, simple, like simple interest and not compound interest. Just APR. Once you are approved for 5% and you want to take that money, okay, the only thing that the bank cares about is the fact that you have to pay the bank within 1 year, like 100,000 plus 5,000 interest, 1,000 principal and 5,000 interest on top of it, right? There is no partnership between you and the bank. The bank actually is not acting as your partner. The bank is not taking any liability or any risk whenever he give you the money. The bank is just sitting and relaxing, like me, we're just waiting for you to pay back the principal and the premium on top of it. Let's say that you took that loan as an investment loan, business loan, and you put $100,000 in your business. Bank actually doesn't care whether you make a profit or you just break even or you like lose money or even you go bankrupt. Okay, by the law of the land, okay, they can go after you in the court and ask for the principal and ask for the premium on top of it. And when I say as a condition for the loan, means that you have to give your consent, your approval prior to taking the money. Okay, if you like make a joke and tell the loan officer, I'm a practicing Muslim, I do not pay interest. Can I take $100,000 zero APR? The answer will be, well, you go to your mosque and ask for money for free. We are not here, a charity organization. We just make money here. So if you are not willing to commit yourself to abide by the rules and just pay 5%, then you are in the wrong place. So there is no way for you to avoid interest. There is no way for you to avoid interest. You want to proceed with the transaction, with the loan, you have to commit yourself to paying 5% annual percentage rate. If you want to keep that money for for 3 years, then you have to pay 115. For 10 years, right? 150. So it's very simple, right? And the bank again is not taking any liability or any risk, okay, whenever the money is released and advanced, given to you. So from now on, whenever I say riba, I refer to this one. And if you look at the definition one more time, how many categories we have here? How many money categories? We have two. You have the principal and the premium. Premium or the surplus or the extra money. Principal in our example is the $100,000. Premium is, the premium actually is 5%, which is whatever is to be paid on top of the principal. And how many parties involved here? two parties. There is a borrower and there is a lender. There is no partnership. Okay? It's obvious and clear from day one that the bank is not partnering with you. The bank is lending you money and does not take any liability or any risk out of giving you that money. Maybe you can start sensing from now why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made riba haram. Okay? Because because there is a lot of injustice involved here. I'm going to discuss it inshallah as we go. So this kind of finance is categorized or called in a very technical term as the risk shifting finance. I want you to remember this term, risk shifting finance as opposed to risk sharing finance. Okay. The non-Islamic one, this one, is based on risk shifting, which means that the bank is shifting all the liability whenever the money is given to you. Okay, you are fully responsible, so the risk is shifted from the bank, right, to you. You are fully responsible. The bank is just waiting for the principal and for the premium on top of it, regardless of the outcome result of the loan that you have taken from the bank. Islamic finance actually is all about risk sharing. Okay? Islamic finance is all about risk sharing and not risk shifting, which means that the bank is not allowed to give you interest-bearing loan. The bank is willing to give you or advance you some money based on one of those different Islamic modes of finance. Could be musharaka, it could be mudaraba, it could be ijara, it could be istisna, it could be bay'u al-salam, based on the nature of the business and the need, of you to get fund. So remember this term, risk shifting finance as opposed to risk sharing one. Moving on. What kind of challenge we Muslims living in the USA in 2025 are facing? Is it the status of riba, whether it is haram or halal? I don't think so. Everybody knows that riba is haram. Even our non-Muslim fellow Americans around, okay, they know that practicing Muslims are not supposed to deal with interest. Is it the definition of riba? I don't think so, because you already came up with a definition that's clear. The premium that must be paid, that has to or must be paid by the borrower to the lender along with the principal amount as a condition for the loan. Okay? In other words, interest-bearing loan. Interest-bearing loan. So if riba is haram, and the definition of riba is well known to all of us here, what kind of challenge we face here? In my opinion, the challenge is the discrepancy, the difference between what we read in the classical books and what we face in the real life, right? In the classical fiqh books, right? Or if someone talks about riba without being really expert in the field, you might get confused. Riba al-fadl, riba al-nasa, riba al-nasi'a, riba al-ta'am, riba al-nuqud, riba al-diyun. More examples, more confusion, right? In the real life, you come across, sometimes on daily basis, you come across certain charges. Sometimes you are subject to be charged by others, or you might charge other people, right? You either take or you charge others. Certain charges that when you come across them, okay, again, you start asking yourself a question: is this the riba that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited or not? I don't know. Take for example, penalty clause. When there is a construction activities and you sign an agreement with the home builder, if he or she does not submit the key on time, what will happen? You're gonna charge him penalty clause, $200, $500 a day. Okay, if the construction was not done on time. Is that penalty clause, is it riba or not? Another example, overdraft charge. When you overuse your debit card without having sufficient fund and you have to pay overdraft charge, right? Okay, it's not introduced to you as riba, it is overdraft charge. Is overdraft charge riba or not? We need to know. Late fees. Each and every single utility bill, okay, you receive on a monthly basis does have a due date. What will happen if you did not pay in full before the due date? You subject yourself to paying late fees. Is that correct? Is the late fees riba or not? Dividend, if you have any business to do in the stock market, and if you have a stocks, for example, you receive dividend, sometimes growth, right? Without dividend. Profit, certain contracts you come across profit, the term profit. Commission when you do something. Interest, okay, sometimes you get paid interest, okay, or you get charged interest. For example, a few months ago, I received an offer from a local bank in Houston, Texas, where I came from, called Regions Bank. They want to make business and promote their business. They told me, listen, if you open a checking account with us, we're gonna deposit $400 for you as a gift from us. I said, yeah, sure, why not? I love money. So I opened a checking account, and they deposited $400 for me. Toward the end of the fiscal year, they sent me 1099, like a IRS form, $400 interest. $400 interest, okay? They gave me a gift, $400, and now they are giving me 1099, $400 interest, okay? Are those $400 deposited in my checking account? Are they the real interest that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited? They are called interest, okay? In the form, they are labeled as interest. Are they interest or not? We need to know. You see, here is the confusion and the misunderstanding, comes from. So again, dividend, profit, commission, interest, cash back. Okay, use your credit card and you receive some cash back. One is that cash, riba or not? We need to know. Fine, like a kind of gharama, compensation, honorarium, service fees, equity share, and actually the list goes on and on. Here is actually the genesis of the confusion. That you read something in the classical books and you come across in the day-to-day operation in the USA, like day-to-day transaction, you come across those charges and you do not know which one of them is riba and which one actually is not. Right. Where to go from here? Your job as a practicing Muslim is to unlock the secret of those contemporary transactions. And unlocking their secret actually is not rocket science. It's very simple, believe me. Very simple, right? If you put take into consideration the definition of riba, okay, that someone is giving money, right? Someone is giving money to somebody else, and the recipient of the money, okay, guarantees the principal and the premium on top of it, If someone is giving money to others and ask for the principal to be guaranteed, right? And for the return on top of the principal to be guaranteed, that is the riba that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited, as simple as that. Someone claimed to be a partner. This is like a very common mistake that we do it back home in Jordan. Anyone from Jordan here? Had Urdun Jama'a Palestini? Yeah. Sometimes the money provider, right, gives money to somebody else, and he actually labels himself as شريك مضارب. يقول لك والله أنا شريك مضارب. I'm your partner. Here is 100,000 Jordanian dinars. We are partners, and based on this partnership, okay, you pay me 500 Jordanian dinars every month. That's my share in the profit. And after 5 years, you pay me the principal back. We are partners. Is this a partnership? No, it is not. It's not a partnership. Do you know why? Because like in this model, okay, the financier actually is guaranteeing his principal. After 5 years, you have to pay me back the $100,000. Not only that, hold on. Every single month, you have to pay me $500. That's my share, okay, of the profit. What if there was no profit at that month? He still actually has to pay you 500 Jordanian dinars. What if the net profit for that particular month was 500 Jordanian dinars? How come that you take the money and you leave him without profit? Okay. What you have done is that you have lended your money with interest, but instead of calling it interest-bearing loan, you call it like mudaraba, or you call it partnership. Call it whatever you want. We don't care about the names. We care about the essence and the reality. Once you offer money and you ask for a fixed return, you offer money, you ask for a fixed return. Every single month, every single year, you have to pay me this amount. Or you say, you know what? Here is 100,000 Jordanian dinar again, and my profit should be 5% of the principal. You cannot do it this way. Okay? To do it right, Okay, you cannot guarantee your principal. So you give that money and you wait. If there is a profit, you take your share. If there is no profit, you take your principal and you go home, ma'as-salam. If there is a loss and your partner, okay, did not do anything wrong, there was no negligence, there was no, let's say like mismanagement or embezzlement or anything wrong, believe it or not, you cannot even go after him and ask for the principal. You cannot go after him and ask for the principal. So back to our discussion here. As I said, the challenge that we face is the discrepancy between what we read in the books and what we face in the day-to-day transaction in the USA. And our job to avoid riba is to unlock the secret of those contemporary transactions. In any deal, any partnership, any contract, any investment opportunity, if you can deduct or find out that someone is giving money, okay, and ask for that money to be guaranteed, like for the principal to be paid back, right? And there is a profit on top of it that's guaranteed as well. That's the riba that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits. Whether it is called interest-bearing loan or called musharaka or ijara or partnership or lease to own, we don't care about the names. We care about the essence and the reality of the deal. No one in a business and partnership, no one has the right to advance money and ask the other party to guarantee the principal for no. As we say in Arabic, tijara, ribhu khasar. Tijara, ribhu khasar. You give the money, like business is subject to profit and loss. You give the money as a partner and you wait. Okay? For the other partner to do business for one complete year, if there is a profit, you take your share. If there is no profit, you take your principal with no profit. If there is a loss, you share the loss with other partners. This is how it works. So again, in each and every single transaction, if it is proven that someone is giving money, okay, and the principal is guaranteed and the premium on top of it is guaranteed, whether it is like more or less, doesn't make any difference, then that's the riba that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited. Let's take some, before those examples, let me just focus on one legal maxim or قاعدة فقهية, fiqh maxim. It goes in Arabic, العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني. العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. What really matters in business transactions is the essence and reality, not the wording or the formality. We don't care about the names. Okay? Someone borrowed money from Bank of America, and the loan officer, instead of asking him to sign promissory note, he just brought a document, okay, called mudaraba or musharaka or partnership. Would that make it halal? It's still haram. I mean, you still borrowed money with interest. You want to call it interest-bearing loan, you want to call it partnership, we don't care, right? We care about the essence and the reality. If someone is giving money and asking for the principal and for the return on top of the principal to be guaranteed both, that is the riba that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited. Let's take some case studies here. I mean, just to show you how easy it is, how simple and easy, it is to discover the interest-bearing transactions and to easily avoid them. Okay? Let's take the saving account. Saving account. I have my brother here, Ahmed Rajab, who looks like me. Is that correct? There's a lot of resemblance between us, like the salah and the lihya. Yeah. But he wears glasses and I do not. And his smile is more beautiful than mine. So I do have, let's say, I do have $10,000, right? And I told Ahmed, here is 10,000. Do whatever you want with the money. And by the end of 2026, you pay me back $11,000. You pay me back $11,000. What do you call this deal? Interest-bearing loan. Is that correct? طيب. Last moment I changed my mind. Instead of giving him the money, I went to Chase and I opened a saving account. I deposited $10,000. And by the agreement with Chase, they have to pay me $11,000 by the end of 2026. By the FDIC, by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, I can go after the bank and ask for the $11,000 to be paid. What is the difference between me giving the money to Ahmed, 10,000 to be paid back, 11,000, as opposed to opening a saving account, okay, and ask Chase to pay me $11,000 by the end of 2026. What's the difference? It's absolutely the same. It's the same. And this actually makes it clear that whenever you open a saving account, you are lending your money to the bank. Doesn't matter who has more money and who has less. You cannot make an argument here that, oh, you have only 10,000 and the bank doesn't need your money. Bank of America or Chase have hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, it doesn't go this way. Okay? It doesn't go by who has more and who has less. It goes by the nature of the agreement. I gave my money, the principal is 10,000, okay, and the 1,000 on top of it is guaranteed. So the principal is guaranteed and the return is guaranteed by the FDIC. Well, that's the riba. So opening a saving account actually is not a halal option, believe it or not. Now, what is the alternative that's not Islamic finance, that's like something else? So let's just establish some very fundamental rules that opening a saving account, classical, traditional saving account actually is not a halal, is not a halal. I will open the floor inshallah for questions. But let's take another example, which is the overdraft charge. Overdraft charge, what does this mean? Overdraft actually is when you use your debit card without having sufficient fund. Let's say that you have only $200 available balance in your checking account that is connected with your debit card. You stopped by a point of sale, you purchased an item, let's say for $300. The transaction went through. Although you have how much? Only 200. But the transaction went through. What does this mean? It means that the bank, okay, has paid on your behalf $100. Is that a gift, or you have to pay it back? You have to pay it back. When you have to pay it back, what do you call it? Loan, right? If you have to pay it back, that's a loan, common sense. Well, if the only thing you need to pay back to the bank is only $100, we have no concern. Problem here is that you have to pay on top of the 100 something else. They do not introduce it to you as an interest, right? They call it, oh, this is overdraft charge. Overdraft charge. Well, by default, anything that you have to pay on top of the loan will be counted as an interest. Will be counted as an interest unless otherwise proven. And the good news here is that otherwise could be proven. You can make an argument that this is not riba. Okay, this is like a very abnormal, like irregular transaction, because our customer does not have sufficient fund, so we have to process $100 from our end, pay it on his behalf, and go after him and ask for the money to be paid back. So because of the extra work that we do, we deserve $35 overdraft charge. This is a very good argument, by the way. Okay. I'm not here to say that this is right or wrong. I'm here to say, as Islamic Finance 101, that overdraft charge is riba by default, unless otherwise proven. And otherwise could be proven. One more example, home mortgage. Is mortgaging a house in a very traditional way, is it a halal option or haram option? I do not want you to answer, I want you just to pause and think about it, the same way. Find out, is someone giving money and ask for the principal and for the return on top of the principal to be paid back with no risk? If the answer is yes, then mortgage actually is haram. If the answer is no, and the money provider is taking like significant amount of risk, okay, and his investment with you is subject to profit and loss, then it should be halal. It's not a rocket science. Let's break down the mortgage. Do you know that when you mortgage a house here in the USA, that you get involved in more than like one transaction simultaneously? There is a sale agreement. You want to purchase a house for $500,000, okay? So you approach the landlord and you make a sale agreement, house for $500,000. Because you do not have money, you go to the mortgage company and you apply for mortgage. Once your application is approved, the mortgage company would pay on your behalf $500,000 to the landlord. And you have to pay it back $800,000 within the next 30 years. So far so good? In order for the mortgage company to secure their fund, okay, they put a lien on the property. They mortgage the property. They put a lien on the property, and they act as the lien holder. So we end up having how many segments? 3. Sale agreement, sale agreement, loan agreement, and a mortgage agreement. Sale agreement is halal. Mortgage agreement is halal, in a sense that if you insist on giving others collateralized or secured loan, that's your right. You can. Okay. Someone from the community approached me, asked me for $200, a loan for a few days, and respectfully, I do not know him. Told him, listen, give me your phone. I'm gonna keep it with me as a collateral. I'm gonna keep it with me until you come back after a few days and pay me. Once you give me the money, I will give you the phone back. Okay, that's called rahan. That's called rahan, and the rahan actually is the mortgage, and it is actually mentioned in the Quran. Believe it or not, right? وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة. الرهان is the rahan. الرهان actually is the mortgage, which means that like if the transaction is halal, the financier, the one who gives money, does have the right, okay, or the lender does have the right to ask for security. They call it secured loan, collateralized loan. So we do not have any issue when it comes to the mortgage itself. We do not have any problem when it comes to the sale agreement. The only problem we have is when it comes to the loan agreement, right? $500,000 paid by the mortgage company to be paid back how much? $800,000. Some people would say, oh, hold on. The mortgage company actually owns the house and they sell me their house. Nice try. The bank or the mortgage company actually is the lien holder. If you look at the deed of trust, there is an obliger. Obliger means the borrower, like the victim, which is your good self, the one who borrows money from the bank. And the other party actually is the financier, which is the lender, which is the mortgage company. And the title company who holds the deed of trust, okay, as a mortgage, right, as the lien on the property, until you pay the principal and you pay the interest on top of it, and then the deed of trust will be released and given to you, and you will be getting clear title, right? So we have borrower and we have lender, okay, and you have to pay the principal and you have to pay interest on top of it. So sale agreement, that's halal. Mortgage agreement, that's halal. Loan agreement, that's haram. Loan agreement, that is haram, right? So in the Islamic finance system, if it is proven that one segment, one component of the deal, of the bundle, okay, is prohibited, that is way more than enough to prohibit the whole deal and to make it haram. So mortgaging homes in the USA in a very classical, traditional way is not a halal option, period. Oh, Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi said otherwise. Oh, we have guidance, that's completely irrelevant to our discussion tonight. Okay, we are here just to establish, I'm here the bad guy here, like to make everything haram here. So mortgaging homes in a very classical way is not a halal option, period. Moving on. Let's take some like other examples. Cashback. Do you think that cashback is halal or haram? طيب, before you answer the question, what does it mean cashback? Cashback actually is a kind of deal that if you use your credit card and not debit card. And by the way, when you use your credit card, all the rules and the regulations of the loan agreement are to be applied here because you are borrowing money. Am I correct? When you use your credit card, when you swipe your card, okay, for cash withdrawal, for paying bills, for purchasing items, you are borrowing money from the credit card company. Am I correct? So all the rules of the loan agreement are to be taken into consideration here. So you borrow money from the credit card company, $100, okay, and because of the promotion, because of the cashback, they pay you $5 back, for example. So you end up borrowing 100, paying it back 100, they pay you back $5. The net amount that you pay is 95. If I'm to give you $100, my brother here, okay, and ask you to pay me 105, what do you call it? Interest-bearing loan. If I'm to give you $100 and ask you to pay me back $100 only, break even, what do you call it? That's qardun hasan, interest-free loan. If I'm to give you $100 and ask you to pay me back $95, is it still riba? That's completely the opposite of riba. Because the one who is benefiting here is not the lender, it is the borrower, which is you in our example. Are you catching up with me here? The one who is benefiting here is whom? The lender or the borrower? The borrower. Now the qaida here, the rule here, كل قرض جر نفعا مشروطا للمقرض فهو ربا. One more time. Each and every loan that brings stipulated benefit to the lender, my example, to the lender will be counted as riba. If I'm to benefit from the loan, that will be riba. But if the other party is benefiting from it, that's not riba. So cashback actually is not riba at all. Whatever cashback you receive from your credit card, كلوه هنيئا مريئا. I mean, take it. It's not haram. It is the opposite of riba, right? طيب. Penalty. I will open the floor. So I'll give this. Okay. Do you want to discuss, for the sake of time, we have overdraft charge and we have home mortgage. I'm sorry. We have owner finance and we have penalty clause. Let's go with the owner finance. Owner finance. You went to a Muslim car dealer in your town here to purchase a car. He told you, okay, this car is for $10,000. Okay, and he said, okay, I'm okay with it, but I don't have money. I'm gonna do it like installment. Give it to me for $10,000. He said, no, sorry, $10,000 cash, $12,000 if you wanna do an installment. Okay. And you were thinking at that time that the $2,000 extra on top of the $10,000 is riba, because he's like adding money because of the time. If it is a spot sale, $10,000. If it is a credit sale, installment sale, okay, payment plan for 1 year, that's $12,000. Some of us actually here think that, oh, those like $2,000 are riba. Are they riba? Let's think. Okay, before you answer, if the market value of the car is only 10,000, does the Muslim car dealer, does he have the right to inflate the price or to overprice the car and ask for $12,000 cash? Can he do that? He can. There's a lot of transparency in the market. Before you make a decision, go to CarMax or KBB.com and just enter the specification of the car, and you will see how much is the market value. And even they go extra miles. They tell you, listen, the market value, if it is wholesale, this amount. If it is retail, this amount, right? So everything actually is clear. Everything is clear. So he does have the right to overprice or to inflate the price. Well, my argument here, if the market value of the car in in the market is $10,000, and he does have the right to ask for $12,000 cash spot sale, why cannot he break those $12,000 right into an installment and make it like $1,000 per month for 12 months? In fact, this is one of the very few cases where the Islamic finance system does acknowledge what's called the time value. Not all the cases. This is one of the very few cases where the time value actually is acknowledged. So the seller actually does have the right to ask for $10,000 cash, $12,000 for 1 year installment, $13,000 for 2 years, $14,000 for. He can give you unlimited option. As long as there is no deal, like you did not close on a certain deal, then it should be good. Once you close, once you pick and choose one option, then you have to stick to it. If you both agreed on $12,000 1 year installment, then that's it. Okay. Once you close, then the price is locked. It cannot be increased. It cannot be decreased. You see. So owner finance actually, if it is between you and the owner of the car, okay, it is okay actually to add extra price, and it's not counted as interest. It is not. Now, it's not the case. It's not the case. If you decided to borrow money from the bank, $10,000, and give it as a price for your Muslim brother, for the car dealer, and you paid the bank $12,000 within 1 year. Outcome result is the same. within 1 year, you paid $12,000 for the car. Are you catching up with me here? But the first scenario actually is halal because there was no loan involved. There was no loan involved. And the other scenario is not halal because you did borrow money from the bank for a certain, percentage of interest. Again, outcome result is the same, but the mechanism and the technicality of the two different scenarios are different. First option is halal, owner finance, in-house finance, and the second option actually is not halal. Let me skip the penalty clause. It's going to take us time. Penalty clause actually is not, briefly, there is no sale agreement, technically speaking. When you contract a home builder to build a house for you or a clinic or construction, whatever, like from scratch, okay? Technically, it's not a sale agreement. We call it manufacturing sale. Like he builds everything from scratch for you, right? And the one who charges the penalty is you, and the one who pays it is whom? Is the construction company. So there is no loan agreement and there is no sale agreement here, right? And that's why charging the construction company penalty clause actually is permissible. It's a kind of uquba. It's a penalty because he did not submit the building on time. But again, since there is no loan agreement and there is no sale agreement, technically, then whatever extra money will be counted as penalty clause and it is still halal. The Islamic finance is based on risk sharing. Okay? Each and every single mode of finance you see here, whether it is mudaraba or musharaka or murabaha or ijar or istisna, does have to have a certain percentage of risk and liability taken by the financier, by the one who gives the money, right? If a certain deal or agreement, okay, that's called musharaka or murabaha or ijara, does not include that necessary risk or liability, then that very particular contract is not a halal one. Although it is labeled as Sharia compliant and you do have fatwa that's halal, well, it is not. Okay? It's not because the murabaha is haram or the no, because the application actually is a defective one. The application is a wrong application. And that's actually the problem that the vast majority of those so-called Islamic mortgage companies in the USA are facing, right? They operate within the system, right? They report and they securitize their contracts and sell them in the secondary market. So they have to comply with the rules of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae and other investors. Those federal institutes, they just go with the book. They want to see contract that has a certain amount as a principal and certain percentages and APR, total amount to be paid. Okay, if they smell or just sense any kind of liability that the company actually is taking risk or owning the property or responsible for the maintenance or the tax or the insurance, they will say, you know what, respectfully, you are by your own. We cannot buy the contract from you. So they have to, those companies, especially if they operate as banks, then they have to comply. They have to comply with the mortgage code and with the requirements of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. By the way, Guidance Residential is not operating as a mortgage company, as a bank. They operate as an investment company. So they are kind of very exceptional in this, in this regard, that they are allowed to make money from real estate. They do not lend money for interest. No, they get involved in purchasing the house, right, jointly with the client for a certain terms that you have to comply with, and they make their money from real estate, not from lending money with interest. You might agree with their model, you might disagree, but they are very exceptional and very unconventional comparison to other so-called Islamic mortgage companies. If you have in mind La Riba, for example, or Ijara loan, according to our Fiqh Council, according to AMJA, which is I'm a part of, both companies are disapproved because their model is a but just interest-bearing loan. Although they call themselves otherwise, but in reality, they are not. If you look at La Riba, for example, okay, just simple. I mean, they pay money on your behalf, and you pay the principal and the interest on top of it. Okay, they try to manipulate or change, come up with different names. Oh, this is Bay'ul Ayn wa Istithna wal Manfa, and they impress you with those big terms. But the reality actually is otherwise. There is no risk whatsoever. There is no mentioning for their name. So it's a straightforward interest-bearing loan, although it is called la riba. La riba means like riba free. Well, it is the actual and the absolute riba. Moving on. Let's take an example here. Okay. Let's just make a comparison. Okay. Between two different individuals, brothers here, who want to finance home. Just imagine, for discussion purposes, that Islamic finance is implemented in the most authentic way. All the rules, all the requirements, all the essentials for the proper application actually is there. So the practice is very genuine and very sound, right? Which is unfortunately not the case nowadays. But just for discussion purposes. So let's say that we have two different brothers here. Someone wants to mortgage a house with conventional bank, and the other one wants to mortgage with Islamic mortgage company. Both gentlemen were approved for $500,000 loan, quote unquote loan, and they have to pay it back $800,000 within the next 30 years. And someone does not have any idea of what's going on would just ask a question. I mean, what is the difference here? Both gentlemen, like the one who went with Chase, okay, has borrowed $500,000 and he has to pay it back how much? $800,000. And the one who went with the Islamic mortgage company has borrowed $500,000 and he has to pay it back $800,000. What is the difference? That's a very good question, a very innocent question that we need to tackle here. That kind of misunderstanding and confusion is not something new, by the way. It was raised during the revelation of the Quran. It is actually in the Quran itself. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ مِثْلُ الرِّبَى. Some people said that sale agreement is equivalent to riba agreement, or like lending with interest. وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ حَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permitted the sale agreement and prohibited the loan agreement. Let's apply this ayah, okay, on those two gentlemen, the one who went with the conventional mortgage as opposed to the one who went with the Islamic one. Now, for this gentleman, actually, he did pay 5% down payment, equity, but from the very day one, okay, closing on the house, he became exclusively responsible for the well-being of the house. Maintenance, tax, insurance are his responsibility. Okay. Down the road, if there is any appreciation or depreciation in the market value of the house, that is his. Okay. Anything might happen, let's say like natural disaster or like eminent domain, like if the state, takes over the property without sufficient compensation, he will be responsible for everything. So there is no liability, there is no risk taken by whom? Taken by the bank. While the other gentleman who went with the Islamic mortgage one, yes, he did pay 5% down payment, but the Islamic mortgage company get involved with him in purchasing the property jointly. Okay, so you can see the name of the mortgage company on the deed of trust as an owner. Okay, as an owner, not as a lender only. And you will see their name on the title. So they hold the title jointly with the customer. Now, because of the actual legal ownership, right, they assume their financial responsibility when it comes to maintaining the property, right? Maintenance, tax, and insurance. Of course, maintenance when it comes to major maintenance, not like wear and tear or something that's, something like really, significant, like foundational, air conditioning, roofing, and so forth. So maintenance and tax and insurance are to be shared jointly, proportionally between the customer and the mortgage company. Appreciation and depreciation, the same. Natural disaster, let's say that something happened after 4 or 5 years, and the insurance did not cover that flood, like what happened a few months ago in Florida. Okay. By the way, Guidance International actually did lose a hefty amount, big amount of money, millions of dollars, because of the flood that took place in Florida, because they own the property jointly with their customers. See? Back to our discussion. So let's say that this brother who went with the Islamic mortgage after 10 years or 15 years decided to quit. He doesn't want to continue. That's fine. You put the house in the market. Alhamdulillah. Put the house in the market. If there is any extra, like any appreciation, you share, like he shares that profit, okay, proportionally with the mortgage company, okay, and vice versa. If there was a depreciation, he will be losing money proportionally based on his percentage of equity. So again, if you zoom out, it's the same. $500,000 to be paid back, 800,000. But if you zoom in and you check the technicalities, you will find out the huge amount of liability and risk has been taken by the Islamic mortgage company, to make it happen. They partner with their customer for 30 years. Actual, real, genuine, authentic partnership. That is the difference between the two. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited interest? Okay, that's again like a very innocent question that we receive every now and then from people who do not, like basically by non-Muslims. They would just make an argument. Okay, they tell you, listen, when you go to the bank and you borrow money for 5% APR, okay, investment loan, and you make 20-25% net profit, what is wrong if you keep the profit and you pay the principal and 5% to the bank and you keep the like the rest for yourself? It's a win-win situation. Everybody's happy, right? Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making it hard by saying no, you cannot borrow money with interest? The answer is, this scenario where you borrow for 5% and you make 20% profit, okay, is a very common scenario, but it's not the only scenario that takes place in life. Okay? In the real life, sometimes actually you make 200, 300, 400%, 500%. I mean what I say, and I'm fully responsible for that. I wish I have time to explain. Sometimes if you make 500% net profit, is it fair enough? Okay, is it fair enough for that individual to give the bank, if he borrowed the money from the bank, to give the bank the principal plus 5% only APR and to keep 495% profit to himself? Where is the justice here? There's absolutely no justice. Now this extreme example actually is favoring the borrower. Let's take another extreme example. Those people who borrowed money from banks back in March 2020, okay, like just a few days before COVID-19 started hitting the whole world almost. Those people actually lost their money. Okay, if there was like no exception from the White House and from the administration at that time, banks actually do have the right, by the law of the land, they do have the right to go after those borrowers and ask for the principal and ask for the premium on top of it, like ask for the interest on top of it. And those people actually did not do anything wrong. It was just an act of God, as they say, like qada wa qadar, something out of their control. Okay, they were unable to like survive. They lost everything, including the principal. The bank actually does not care about it. The bank actually is still asking for the principal and ask for the premium on top of the principal. And the same question actually is to be raised here. Where is the justice? Why you go after someone who did not do anything wrong? So to answer the question, when riba is incorporated in any finance system, it brings a lot of dhulm, a lot of injustice and financial exploitation. Whether like for the favoring the borrower or favoring the lender, doesn't make any difference. Someone actually is getting hit by riba, is treated financially badly because of the riba. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want that injustice to take place on earth. In fact, the Quran itself actually is the one who is telling us clearly that the main purpose of sending all the prophets and all the messengers and all the books, including the Quran and the Torah and the Bible and the Zabur and Suhuf Ibrahim and Musa, you name it, is to establish justice on earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. We have already sent our messengers with the clear evidences and sent down with them the scripture and the balance. وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمْ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ. As if someone is asking, Ya Allah, why you did all that? What was the answer? قَالَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. So people actually would stand for justice, would implement justice on earth. So when you incorporate riba in any finance system, you bring a lot of financial exploitation and a lot of injustice to the system. And then you stand against Allah as well. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear that riba is haram. And when riba is haram, which is the case, it's haram every time, everywhere, for everybody, for every reason. There is no exception here. Do not tell me, oh, I'm a Hanafi, and according to Abu Hanifa and his followers, that riba is not to be implemented outside like the Muslim world. If you live in a Muslim society, then you can deal with the interest. This is actually incorrect. It's incorrect. Okay. So you go with the authentic like madhab, and the correct madhab, that riba is haram every time, everywhere. With all due respect, not every single mas'ala and every single madhab is correct. We do have a lot of mistakes in those madhab. So just use the common sense. How come that riba is haram in Pakistan and in Saudi Arabia and Bangladesh and Iraq and Egypt, but when you come here to the USA, oh, riba is halal? Based on what? Well, zina is haram there. Why do not you make zina halal here? Which one actually is more severe in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Riba or zina? When the Prophet ﷺ counted the sab'a al-mubiqat, like the 7 destructive major sins, he counted 7 different sins, in which, believe it or not, zina was not one of them. Riba actually is one of them. How come that you make the most severe sin, you make it permissible here, and you say, oh, zina is haram? If you want to permit, just permit everything. Take the whole package. Zina is halal and riba is halal, and just everybody is good to go. Or otherwise, everything actually is haram. Of course, the Muslim community actually needs a lot of education, and this is actually one of the biggest challenges that we face. You see here like contemporary issues, including cryptocurrency and student loans and retirement accounts and investing in the stock market, banking system, mortgaging homes, insurance, okay, especially the life one. And this is actually where the importance of Guidance College, the institute that I'm representing actually here today, is coming from. In this university, we offer Masters in Islamic Economics and Finance. Master's degree in Islamic Economics and Finance. Guidance College, alhamdulillah, is fully accredited by ASIC, one of the most prestigious accreditation bodies in the United Kingdom, and we are working diligently to get it accredited in the USA. Inshallah, you will be hearing the good news soon that Guidance College actually is the very first online Islamic university that's fully accredited in the USA. Inshallah, that is the ambition, that is the plan, and inshallah we will make it happen. So at Guidance, actually, we do have, it's purely online. We used to have a hybrid system before COVID-19. Like we used to bring our local students, Houstonian, to our campus, and rest of the students online. But after COVID-19, we just switched completely online. It's an evening and weekend college. So Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, no classes. We do this purposely. We want our students to go to different colleges and to like join their, businesses and jobs and whatever. And in the evening, from the community of their homes, they can just join Guidance College. And we do actually offer very like affordable tuition. So money actually is not an issue. I mean, you can imagine that bachelor's degree in Islamic studies, that's 130 credit hours. We charge only $10,000. Nowadays, $10,000 actually could be spent by our college students, maybe like in 1 semester or 2 semesters, between living expenses and tuition fees. So we are not making money from like teaching. Guidance College for us, alhamdulillah, is a very noble cause and a mission. Okay, we are here actually by choice, not by force, because we believe in Islamic education. We believe that the Muslim community deserve to be educated. In Guidance College, we have Masters in Islamic Education, Masters in Islamic Economics and Finance, and a very basic level, which is the bachelor's degree in Islamic Studies. Muslims actually have a long way to go to declare their independence financially, because as long as we are operating within the system here, like reporting to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae when it comes to mortgage, for example, then you have to go with the book. You cannot get your freedom to apply whatever you think is correct. So the solution actually is to syndicate, is to tap on the resource of the Muslim community, bring their financial resources together, establish your own Islamic finance or Islamic mortgage or Islamic investment. And we can do that because, like, to my knowledge, we do have, well, there are hundreds of millions of dollars scattered all over the country, owned by Muslims. The only thing we need to do is just to have a vision and to put our resources together and start, working, to establish, fully independent, within the system, of course, fully independent, Islamic finance and Islamic investment company. On the long run, of course, we need to be more involved in politics, because this is a very democratic society, and actually voting actually is power. Okay, so the more votes you have, the more pressure you can put on the policymakers to make sure that they have to be willing, okay, to incorporate Islamic finance. And from our side, we need to supply the community at large with as many brothers and sisters who are Islamic finance professionals, like holding a degree in Islamic finance, to be able to penetrate the system, to challenge the system, to come up with more products that are Sharia compliant. Go to those websites. Those are like new projects I'm heavily involved in. One of them is called Edifice X. Okay, this is like a tokenization, blockchain platform to facilitate declining partnership. It's not a mortgage company, just a platform to bring people to buy and sell. Like, you can think of it like Amazon, where buyers and sellers meet online on Amazon and trade, buy and sell. Fi Wallet, like to invest in gold. Zaki Financial, Islamic investment in the stock market. Atina, just an advisory or consultancy firm. Here is Zaki Financial. And I'm actually like choosing those entities because I'm in charge of the Sharia compliance. So if you go to this one here, you see the team here, and you will find me like one of the sorry? Oops. Sorry. Glad you told me. Yeah, this one here. So this is Edifice X. Okay, and this is Zaki Financial, Islamic investment company. It's my picture, I think, 15 years ago, so do not. And this is Fi Wallet for investing in gold. And this is Edifice X. If you can give me just 1 minute.
We are Edifice X, and we are here to democratize ethical property purchase and investment. The key factors enabling our success are: 1. The technology driving our solution. 2. Our commitment to ethical finance. 3. The value we offer global home buyers and investors. Let's begin with the technology. Our product implements the concept of declining partnership using a novel technology called real estate tokenization. This is how it works. 1. Sellers divide their property into fractions and convert them into digital tokens on our platform. 2. Investors become fractional owners by purchasing a subset of these property tokens. 3. The first investor to choose the home buyer option can gradually redeem all tokens, becoming the sole owner of the property. 4. The home buyer rents the property, and rent income is distributed among investors. All of that happens on our customized blockchain, whose native currency is uniquely backed by gold, making it the only non-volatile cryptocurrency in the space. Our blockchain offers the following benefits: global accessibility, immutability, transparency, and stability. However, our solution is not only about crypto stability, it's also about ethical stability. From the novel technology we use to the way we develop our products, we always prioritize ethical profitability. This commitment means that all contracts involved in our solution are ethically structured. Therefore, no interest, direct or indirect, is accrued or paid. This takes us to the value we offer home buyers and investors. Our novel solution allows buyers to purchase a portion of a property and buy the rest when they can. No banks, no loans, and no interest. Furthermore, we make real estate investment accessible to middle and low-income families and investors worldwide, allowing them to profit from rental income and property appreciation. This is our solution, where ethics and profit meet.
Where ethics and profits meet. طيب, let's break for Salat al-Isha inshallah, and this is the very last one, which is Atina, just a consultancy firm. You can enter the name or the code of the stock that you are interested in, and the system automatically will generate a report for you, right? Take for example, Microsoft is a Atina compliant, means Sharia compliant. Okay, so we check the debt market capital, interest bearing investment, interest income, and something new called the product line. So if it is Atina compliant, then that stock actually should be good to go. It's a free service. You just go there and enter the code of the stock that you're interested in, and you'll get an answer. Let's break inshallah a few minutes for Salat al-Isha. Come back. This is a zakah calculator, free online resource. You don't have to enter any personal information. We'll continue inshallah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة. قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. استووا مستقيم. جالس كده. استووا مستقيم. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والليل إذا يغشى والنهار إذا تجلى وما خلق الذكر والأنثى إن سعيكم لشتى فأما من أعطى واتقى وصدق بالحسنى فسنيسره لليسرى وأما من بخل واستغنى وكذب بالحسنى فسنيسره للعسرى وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى إن علينا للهدى وإن لنا للآخرة والأولى فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى الذي كذب وتولى وسيجنبها الأتقى الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى ولسوف يرضى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله اللهم اللهم Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. Inshallah, we'll be opening the floor for question and answer, and I have plenty of time. But let me just remind you with the importance of those Islamic higher education institutions like Guidance College. We do have maybe like a good number of Islamic scholars in the USA, but the majority of them are immigrants. And subhanAllah, those like scholars that you know well are just aging and like passing away one after another. And there is no like clear and strong plan to replace those scholars with homegrown Islamic scholars, native, indigenous, like organic, homegrown, born and raised in the USA Islamic scholars. And down the road, we need like such scholars who speak the language and speak the mind and speak the culture of the community at large, to fill the gap and to make sure that the growth of the Muslim community is a very righteous and a very prudent one. And that's exactly actually what we do at Guidance College. Alhamdulillah, since 2012 until today, we are like on the ground serving the Muslim community, offering those only 3 different programs that I already explained before Salatul Isha. Masters in Islamic Economics and Finance, and you see how growing and how promising the Islamic finance is, alhamdulillah, in the USA. And Masters in Islamic Education to enhance the quality of education that we provide for our students. We have, by the way, more than 500 different full-time Islamic schools nationwide, right? And the third and last one is the bachelor's degree in Islamic studies. If you take a look at the student population of Guidance College, especially like students in the bachelor's degree, a good percentage of those students are new reverts to Islam, new converts. Okay, brothers and sisters who just accepted Islam recently, they found that alhamdulillah the program that we have is good enough for them to get the necessary education and to go back and serve the community at large, going to masajid and synagogues and churches and like weekend school and full-time Islamic schools and serve and just spread the authentic and relevant knowledge within the society. The tuition fees at Guidance College actually is very, very nominal. We charge only $10,000 for the bachelor's degree in Islamic studies. So we are not making money from the tuition fees. Guidance College for us actually is a very noble cause and mission that we fulfill and serve the Muslim community on behalf of the Muslim community. So those brothers and sisters, like some of them, those converts, cannot afford even paying the $10,000 tuition fees. Alhamdulillah, we have a program called in-house financial aid. So we sponsor them, like we pay from our own pocket as Guidance College to sponsor them and give them the opportunity of joining the college and getting their degree. Based on that, I wholeheartedly believe that Guidance College, alhamdulillah, is standing for a good cause and serving the Muslim community on behalf of the Muslim community. Guidance College is a 501c non-for-profit organization, but most importantly, it is an eligible zakah recipient. As I said, like those like some of the converts are not financially, strong enough to pay for the tuition fees. So under the category of al-fuqara and al-masakin, you can pay zakat al-mal. Under the category of al-mu'allafati qulubuhum, new converts, you can still pay zakat al-mal. You do not have to wait until the month of Ramadan to pay zakat. You can prepay zakat al-mal, from now. Imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped you tonight, sponsoring a student for $10,000, how much reward you will be getting when that brother or sister is equipped with knowledge and holds a degree and goes back to serve the community and spread the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As long as he or she functions and works and deliver the message, as long as you receive reward during your lifetime and even after your death. So I wish, I hope, I pray that tonight, inshallah, maybe we can sponsor 3 or 4 students together. Maybe you decided from now that, okay, I'm gonna prepay zakat al-mal. I'm not gonna wait until the month of Ramadan. I believe in the noble cause of Guidance College. Here is $10,000 from my zakah or from my donation, sadaqah, on behalf of myself, on behalf of others. I want to sponsor a student for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get sadaqatun jariyah, like continuous charity. Those people again will go out, spread the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of people will be accepting Islam because of their efforts, and you will be actually getting the exact amount of reward because you are the one who were standing behind the scene and supporting those brothers and sisters. So who is willing, inshallah, to make it happen? Just a few minutes before I open the floor for question and answer. Who is willing, inshallah, to make it happen and sponsor a student for maybe $10,000 from your zakat al-mal, okay, under the category of al-fuqara, al-masakin, or al-mu'allafati qulubuhum, sponsoring a student for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help Guidance College, supplying the Muslim community with as many homegrown Islamic scholars as possible. Who is willing, inshallah, to make it happen and say, yes, I will make it, inshallah. 10,000 is not a big deal. I'm gonna break it down to like 20 payments or 50 payments, whatever. Here is $10,000. Anyone, inshallah, who's willing to make it happen? How about maybe 2 brothers to sponsor one student, like 5,000 each? Who is willing, inshallah, to squeeze his budget and make it happen? And again, you don't have to make it like one-time payments. Maybe you can break it down to whatever payments, 10, 20, 30 payments. So who's willing, inshallah, to pay 5,000 to sponsor a student for 2 years, or maybe 2 brothers to sponsor a student for 4 years? How about maybe 4 donors, 2,500 each? Can we sponsor a student tonight here? 2,500, any brother or any sister, inshallah. Sadaqatun jariyah and ilmun yuntafa bih, beneficial knowledge. Anyone, inshallah, who's willing to make it happen? Do you think, Jazakallah khair akhi, a student for 1 year, 2,500? Barakallah feek, Allah yajzika khair. Barakallahu laki fi ahlik wa fi malik. Any match, inshallah, for my brother here? 2,500. Maybe 3 more donors, and we will be just good to go. Sponsoring 1 student tonight will be sufficient enough. Anyone, inshallah, to match my brother here? I will go down to what I call the standard donation, which is 1,000. Very simple, very easy, very affordable. Can I see maybe 9, 10 hands with only 1,000? Only 1,000. And again, 1,000, if it is too much to be paid at once, maybe you can just break it down. So inshallah, who will be the first one with only 1,000? Only 1,000. Only 1,000 from your zakah, from your sadaqah, from your donation. Maybe on behalf of someone who passed away and give him a gift tonight. Here is $1,000 to sponsor a student. Anyone, inshallah? How about 500? Is it doable, you think, 500? Jazakallah khair, Akhi Ahmed. Barakallahu laki fi ahlik wa fi malik. Any match for Ahmed, inshallah, 500? Jazakallah khair, barakallah feek. Any match for the 2 brothers, 500? Barakallah feek, Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khairan kathiran. Barakallah fi jazakallah khair. Any match for those brothers? 500. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that correct? So that's one student for 2 years, associate degree. Any push? Can you squeeze it more and just raise your hand for whatever you can afford? I do have a credit card machine for those brothers who want to make their donation. I do have a donation box for the cash and pledge forms if you want to use your you fill out the pledge form, for your credit card to be charged. Jazakumullah khairan kathiran. Barakallahu lakum fima anfaqtum. Barakallahu fima abqaytum. Make sure that you fulfill your pledge before I leave. I'll be driving. I came by the way from Memphis, 3 hours driving, and after I finish, I will drive back 3 hours and just take maybe like a nap for 1 hour, and just go to the airport to fly to Houston. So Jazakumullah khair for accommodating me tonight. Jazakumullah khair for whatever you have offered to support Guidance College. I'll open inshallah the floor for question and answer. Ya Rabbi, ya Ameen. There is no affiliation between Guidance Residential and Guidance College, by the way. Guidance College, the one that I represent, is a degree granting institute. It has nothing to do with Guidance Residential, which is the Islamic mortgage company. We might collaborate in different projects, but legally, financially, administratively, we are completely independent. There is no partnership or affiliation between Guidance College and Guidance Residential. جزاك الله خير. بارك الله فيك. طيب. I can take questions. تفضل. They offer what? I'm sorry. Well, I can answer the second question. For the first question, I need to read more about it. Buying points, that's something new for me. But the difference is that UIF is a bank, so they do not have the ability actually of applying the musharaka in a good way that Guidance Residential does apply it. Guidance Residential actually operates as an investment company, so they do create an LLC and they purchase the house jointly with the client, and they are in the process actually of getting another approval from AMJA to remove the restriction, because so far the fatwa that they have gotten in the past is that Guidance Residential is allowed as needed only. So now they are proposing to AMJA one more time to remove that restriction and to give them unrestricted approval based on certain parameters that they have in their contract. I know. But for the first question, honestly, I need to read more about it. That's something new for me. Buying points to lower the interest, that's something new for me. Now, تفضل. Zero APR with some fees would be fine if the fees actually are for the labor work, balance transfer fees. That would be fine. Balance transfer fees, if it is zero APR, then that would be fine, inshallah. No. It depends on which company. Can you tell me the name of the company that you want to deal with? Yeah, Guidance actually is good enough. And here's Brother Ahmed that works for Guidance Residential. That's again different from Guidance College. Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is actually what they do. There is a price for the cash and different price, higher price, for the installment. So as long as it is an owner finance, in-house finance, that should be good. Like they can ask for extra price because of the installments. Yeah. No. طيب. They are approved as as needed, the fatwa. But again, they are not they are now in the process of like asking for review for this fatwa and to remove that restriction. So yeah, and hopefully inshallah they will get it soon. I mean, so far, according to MJ, guidance residential is allowed as needed. So those who cannot afford, like paying cash for the house, they can, confidently finance with guidance residential. As needed, right? Now, the new proposal is to remove that need and just to make it like halal by default with no restriction. Will they get it or not? I mean, it's up to the fatwa committee to decide, inshallah. But that is the plan. تفضل. The loan, Habib, basically is not supposed to be like investment loan. There is nothing in the Islamic finance system called investment loan. Yani I cannot give someone $500,000 in your example for 5 years or 100 for 5 years, while I know for a fact that he's going to use my money for investment. I mean, this is a wrong decision. Like for charity, for devotion, well. You give others money and you anticipate none but the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a part of the package actually is for you to incur the loss or the reduction in the purchase power. You cannot charge the value, right, of the money. You charge the exact amount. So you lended 100,000, you take it back 100,000, no more and no less. Or otherwise you give money as an investment, not as a loan, and you will be like entitled for whatever profit you are asking for. It's either or. Yeah. To the what? No. If you insist, you can lend gold. Give him like 10 grams, 15 grams of pure gold, and ask him to pay you back gold. You cannot do that because you will open the floor widely for interest. الديون ترد بمقدارها لا بقيمتها. Debts and loans are to be paid back with the exact amount, not with the exact value. But again, if you insist or there is a possibility that the borrower might take his sweet time, give him gold and ask him to pay you back gold. Give him 10 grams of gold and ask him to pay you back 10 grams of gold. That's it. No. Avoiding it actually is preferable because it is a decentralized currency, and there is like a unjustifiable fluctuation in its market value. So there is a lot of gharar. Well, it's not haram. No, it's not. But it should not be within your comfort zone as a practicing Muslim. This is not the right way of making money. Yeah, we do have fatwa on Amjad that it depends on the reason behind mining, mining the cryptocurrency, and the reason behind using it. Like if you take Edifice X for example, we do have cryptocurrency. We call it tokens, right? Tokens actually for purchasing, homes and selling homes would be fine. So there is no one size fits all. It depends on the reason behind that cryptocurrency and the use of the cryptocurrency. Keep it as Sharia compliant as possible, and you can roll over to Zaki Financial. This one here. Yeah, you can switch to you can roll over to Zaki Financial. They do have IRA, and they can handle it for you in a Sharia compliant way. It depends on your employer and his his policy. Most of them actually they do allow advisors. So you can assign Zaki Financial as your advisor. If not, then you can go with Azad or Iman Fund or Sharia portfolio. You will be having a lot of options here. No, تفضل. We do have a fatwa in Amja that if students are running out of resources like no grants, no financial aid, no scholarships, and the subsidized loan is not available or insufficient, if a student is running out of resources and either to take unsubsidized loan, which is an interest-bearing one, or not to take it and just get dismissed from the college, then borrowing money with interest for higher education purposes would be permissible. Not, this is not my fatwa, this is the official position of Amjad. So our students can borrow money with interest if this is the only source of funding for them. It could be a kind of darura that's different from mortgaging a house. If you do not mortgage a house, you can rent. But if you do not have money for education, like you will be dropped, you'll be like dismissed from the program. So lakin alternative makes it darura, to keep it simple. Second question. You tap Habibna on your own resources. You go to Muslim investors, you create an LLC, bring money, and ask the LLC to fund your project. This is the right way of doing business. You'll be like, you find a lot of private investors who are willing. Well, you can do limited partnership, like you bring investors only, not lifetime partners. There is a difference between partnership and limited partnership. So you bring some investors based on contract called limited partnership. Okay, you get them involved for 4 or 5 years, they get their principal, their profit, and they leave ma'as-salam, and you continue your business by yourself. طيب يا جماعة جزاكم الله خير. طيب we'll talk inshallah, but I need to stop because I need to wrap up my stuff and leave. بارك الله فيك.
That's still here.
That's outside.
Okay, perfect. That's good. That's good. Alhamdulillah.